Imagine this scenario. You are called by a sales executive asking for some last-minute assistance with a product demonstration where you have little to no context. Reluctantly, you agree. You immediately receive an invitation for a 60-minute call for a demonstration the next day with no clear agenda. It seems more like a request for discovery assistance than a proper demonstration. You do not have the time to sync with the sales executive to understand what problems or goals has been discussed. Looking at the CRM portal, there is only basic information about the prospect. What do? Do you cancel? Do you plead with the sales executive or their sales manager to change the meeting to a discovery session? This is a common scenario that I hear about quite often. In fact, I received a direct message from my episode last week telling me to get real. The SE said that, quote, 25% of my scheduled appointments are set up as demonstrations when actually they're discovery calls. There are 4 tips to deal with this common situation. As a sales engineer, you should always be prepared with 5 to 7 demo scenes of 2 to 4 minutes each in your repertoire. These are mini demonstrations that require no or minimal setup. They are well rehearsed, on topic, and should come from muscle memory. You should be able to deliver these in an extemporaneous fashion. Tip 2. Go with the flow and start the meeting by asking for 5 minutes to ask a few questions about the preferred agenda. Changing the agenda of the scheduled demo sometimes can be met with conflict. If you sense this after a few questions, agree on a selection of 2 to 3 demo areas as the agenda. Ask why these areas are important to the customer. Tip 3. Use the selected short demonstration scenes as conversation starters. The customer or prospect should be talking 50% or more of the time, and there should never be a point where you're talking more than 3 minutes at a time without checking in for feedback. And finally, tip 4. Make sure that you and the account executive are both participating in this call. The account executive should be guiding the conversation to focus on discovery questions while you're engaged with the mechanics of running the demonstration. If this does not happen, you'll need to have a serious discussion with the account executive. 3 questions for you today. How do you deal with these situations and how often do they occur? Is a demonstration not a demonstration? In other words, are there different types of demonstrations needed at different parts of the sales cycle? For example, at the very beginning of the sales cycle versus at the end of the sales cycle. And finally, in order to avoid this situation to happen again, what do? I would love to hear your stories and advice on this topic.